mom brain and teen brain?
So let's think about what's happening at both those times in your life, right? You have this huge spike in hormones. And so teenagers' brains are going through a significant amount of change. Really, it's frustrating for someone when we look at that shrinkage that happens in adolescence. And so as we think about pregnancy, there's estrogen, there's progesterone, it's just coursing through your body. But what's really interesting in both times, there is a significant amount of shrinkage in your frontal lobe and your temporal lobe. And so you're actually losing gray matter. And we have billions of neurons in the brain. And so think about when you're trying to focus on a task, that's what's happening in pregnancy and adolescence. Your brain is actually shrinking to help you focus.
Very interesting. Okay, well, Sarah, is brain shrinkage ever a good thing?
That's a very difficult statement, but in both cases, if you think about it, during pregnancy, the more brain shrinkage that we see, the greater social bonding that you have with your baby. So you're getting this increased white matter in your brain. You're getting cross-regional communication between the different parts of your brain. And so it is good because it's helping you to focus on specialized tasks. So think about that. The more gray matter you lose as a mom, the more you can focus on your baby and the more you have that kind of bonding. And as a teenager, we think about thousands of years ago, that was actually the time when you were going to get married thousands of years ago. And so that evolutionary conditioning still carries on today. That's why we have brain shrinkage in teenagers.
Now, here's the big question. How long does it take for the brain to go back to normal, if it ever does?
So as the mother of a 14-year-old, that's a really good question. On average, it takes about 2 years for mothers' brains to go back to that same size. Sometimes that can take up to 6 years, depending on how much self-care you're seeing. With teenagers, we usually see that brain shrinkage kind of reverse after 18, 19. But what is interesting is we look at other countries, like in Bulgaria, they have 59 weeks of mat leave. In Croatia, it's also around 57, 58 weeks. And it's because we see that depending on the mother's kind of social environment, she might need more time. For teenagers, there's a reason that adolescence lasts, 6, 7 years. It's because it takes that amount of time for their neural circuitry to really be rewired. So for moms, I can say, give yourself a break, definitely. It can take a long time.
Yeah, you're talking about self-care there. So do you have any tips for teenagers and new moms?
I do. Number one, ultimately, in both times of life, in pregnancy and teenage kind of years, don't overload yourself. Really give yourself the space to tell people that, hey, this is what's happening right now. This is science. It's not just, me overreacting. I would say for parents, give your teenagers a lot of quiet time. And I don't mean time out, because you can't do that with a teenager, but try to practice what I call active silence. 5 to 15 minutes a day, schedule active silence, listening to the sound of silence, not meditation, not yoga, not nature walks, just really depriving your nervous system of that overload of stimulants. It is such a huge help to getting your brain to calm down.
And I think a lot of new parents can relate to this, but often mom brain does affect the relationship. How can you help the relationship between a new mom and dad?
Really, as a parent, I would say take time alone for yourself. I think especially for moms, there's a lot of social anxiety when you're taking time away from the baby, but you need that time as a unit. Or, if you're a single parent, I was a lone mom for 10 years, you still need time away to yourself. And so really structure that time to focus on that interpersonal connection and have that stimulus from someone who can actually talk to you and speak in sentences. That's really, really crucial for neural stimulation during that 4th trimester that we talk.
Great insight. Sarah, thank you so much for speaking with us this